Get in, nerds. We are playing Victoria 3. So, last time we got Brazil into our power block, and we took a bunch of territory in the Caribbean and Central America. I think this time, how are my relations with my subjects going? They're a little rough, because of all the infamy. So, we'll compound that. We'll make that even worse by annexing our, where are they? By annexing Los Altos. Do they have a truce with us? No. Yes, here we go. 7.9 infamy. It's not too bad. Nobody's going to stop us. They will not accept, but obviously our... Oh, Mexico's going to get involved. Interesting. Well, perhaps we'll steal some more territory from Mexico then. Do I dare compound the various problems? If I liberate Rio Grande, what does that do to the balance of power in the market? Udam. Interesting. Because I think that's the only liberate I've got against Mexico that will not increase my own infamy. On the other hand, I could just steal Rio Grande and Baja California and call it a day, and continue to chip away at them. Or I can steal more territory over here. There's, of course, Veracruz and Oaxaca, who are mostly Mexican, but have a very large minority of Mesoamerican people. Here, what about Veracruz? No, Veracruz is pretty much entirely Mexican. But I could grab Oaxaca. That's part of it. We'll see. I think they might not fight. So, we'll annex. This is going to cause a little infamy. Oh, Mexico, what are you doing in here? What are you doing trying to fight me in a war? You know you can't fight me in a war. I'm actually not going to raise my concerts because I don't think I actually genuinely need them. My army is quite substantial at present. So if I throw a conquest CB on Oaxaca, it'll be 14 infamy. That would once again put me above the infamy point where I want to be. But I could conquer it for Maya. And that would not? No, it'll still give me that infamy. Well, that's really a shame. Hey, there's pan-nationalism. Because I really, really want to steal that territory. For the Maya civilization. For the Maya civilization. I mean it just... I'm gonna do it. And we'll make them pay reparations. Hooray! Little by little, rubber barons, local authorities, and elements of the evangelicals are divided on the best direction to shape the Amazonian peoples of American Guyana. Every argument, however, is rooted in self-interest. Both her husband and her son's hands were struck red. Priests and nuns had brought canes upon the boy for dancing in the halls and reciting the old stories. The patron's enforcers believed the man had adulterated the rubber he tapped. But the men of the lash did not work them to death, she thought. The men of the single god would drive their souls to death. So this is an event that's going to come up for all of our Amazonian territory. Our two options here are education is a distraction. Their hands are for labor, not writing. This increases radicalism for pops that are in open prejudice status or below. Makes the evangelical salty and mildly reduces rubber plantation throughput. Or we shall make Americans of them yet. This slightly increases radicalization for pops in open prejudice or below. Increases assimilation and education access and makes the southern planters salty. I'm going to do the second one. I almost never pass up an opportunity to make the southern planters mad. Because I think making the southern planters mad is a great virtue. I've got an army that's not in the action. Which one is it? I've got 2 armies here. And 3 armies here. Ah, the Army of the Great Plains. Seems to have a lot of... Oh, yeah, no, this is the baseline number. No, we're fine. We're fine. I'm just bad at counting. Now, if I throw another war goal in here, am I just shooting myself in the foot infamy-wise? I think I am. So we'll leave that be for now. So what else can we achieve with Uruguay? They're cautious towards us, which means I can't do a whole lot. But I could bankroll them. But that would cost a ton of influence, actually. So I'll leave that be for now. I've got a little bit of authority kicking around from discovering pan-nationalism. So let's go ahead and throw a consumption tax on liquor. It's not actually going to produce that much cash, but it's going to be worth. Where are we with the power block? 3 months away from unifying our market, and then we'll see what ye market needs. Begemder is going after Sadamo. I think this is an Ethiopian situation. Yeah. So we'll leave that be for now. Excellent. We're going towards another stage of success for compulsory primary schooling. I'm going to need to increase the size of the bureaucratic sector to accommodate this, but it wouldn't work it. So there's the war. Force comparisons on all fronts are rock solid, so I'm really not worried about actually how this will go whatsoever. So let's build up some bureaucracy in California, shall we? We'll build 10 levels, and that should be just fine. And what do we want to do in terms of when those get built? I think we'll put them at the top of the queue, but we'll get the railways in Brazil finished first. Because the railways in Brazil are critical for ensuring that Brazil has sufficient long-term growth to make this situation manageable. Yep, these fronts are likely to be merged. Anti-Russian League offers opportunity. The Anti-Russian League has offered an opportunity to sign a trade agreement with Egypt. Their proposal, if accepted, is intended to counter Russian interests. It was a veiled sort of aggression, one which could in theory appeal to both ardent jingoists and those who prefer to mitigate losses. It would force the enemy to respond, possibly drive them to a reckless confrontation in response to a seemingly benign maneuver. A plan to fight Russia to the last Egyptian, one minister remarked. The representative flushed. He had practiced responses along both lines, but none of them quite fit. We'd be happy to pursue this. This is not in our interests. I know the Russians don't like us, but, you know, it just doesn't matter that much. Empty Pockets. A series of perceived poor decisions by the Central American national movement has led to a notable decrease in its ability to raise money. Numerous wealthy sympathizers have quietly halted their support for the movement in its current form. We do not wish to appear partisan. Always the same refrain. The organizer paced back and forth within his tiny office, fist clenched until it felt as if his knuckles were about to burst through his skin. Occasionally he stole a glance at the unopened envelopes on his desk, all of which he knew would repeat a variation on the same. Partisan. What did it mean? That they cared for something? That they'd chosen to do something beyond count the money in their vaults? He had something important to do, something that would improve society itself. They had a chance to do the same. In that light, how could partisanship possibly be bad? Perhaps it will find an alternate source of funds, slight reduction in movement pop attraction, 2% of pops in DC become more loyal, or everything dies in the end, some faster than others, significantly reduced pop attraction. I'm going to go for the first one. Loyalists are a better long-term benefit than 2 years of a weaker movement. Very nice. Occupation continues. And there's compulsory primary school. Wonderful. So, do we have enough bureaucratic capacity to get there right now? We do not. We're going to need to finish getting these built before we go there, so that'll be fine. We'll work on that. And that'll be our current project. Actually, we can get it started right now. If we get these done... I think when we get these done, that'll get us enough of a buffer to go the remainder of the way. So this has been an interesting one. There's the mandate we need. Wonderful. So this has been an interesting run, because I've really been a little careless with my my infamy, and it's mostly paid off for me. I think in an early build of the game, I may have gotten a little over-turned off by... I may have over-tuned my reluctance to not accrue infamy. Oh, interesting. Mexico still has war support. Well, not for another week. Only for another week they do. In fact, I've actually almost got the country entirely occupied, which I think will cause the war to end immediately. If all of the combatants, if all of the belligerents on one side are fully occupied. Yes, indeed. Beautiful. Alright, so, now, Maya. Grant State. This is Chiapas. And now we have a proper Maya state. And Mexico has continued to be weakened. Alright, so what else is this? France is going to steal a bunch of territory from Sulu. The Philippines, with the support of Burma and Dainam, are trying to avoid annexation. They're going for war reparations and not independence. What an interesting situation. Spain has slave states, but not in Spain, right? That's Spain's situation. So it's not actually really a slave state. So this is weird. If they were going for independence, I would support them. But they're not. So I'm going to not worry about it. We're building up these rubber plantations. Currently they don't produce anything that's really of great importance, but it is worthwhile. So, now, we're about to achieve the Monitor. That's wonderful. So I think we'll flip over those units before I forget. Got a little bit more influence to play with, so we'll improve... I can't improve relations with Peru, Bolivia, because they like me too much. We'll start improving relations with Argentina. We're already improving relations with Argentina. Okay, Uruguay, you're good to go. Paraguay, you could be happier with me. So, come on, give me the Monitor. Show me the Monitor. Okay. Beautiful. So, we'll go ahead and grab the American Navy, and we'll get these frigates upgraded. So from here, what was the thing I was going to do? First, I'm going to queue in another level of education. Second, ooh, actually, I should... Yes, we'll survey the Panama Isthmus. So once this gets completed, we'll be able to build ourselves a nice chunky canal. We're going to need a little bit more government bureaucracy to deal with this. We've got a market access shortage in DC on account of the railways not hiring, which is a crying shame. That's weird. I'm not sure what to make of that, but it is what it is. Let's build out a few more government admins in other places just to handle the excess. We'll throw those in at the top again after the railways in Brazil, because those railways in Brazil are so very important. And then in a moment we'll unify the market and we'll see what the impact of that is on our overall situation. So, IT, you're rebellious. That's a shame. They're all rebellious. They should be... Part of this is from... Yes. I've got that annexed subject thing that's making all of them skittish. But, again, I'm not too worried about that. I think it's not going to be a problem. At least, not in the long term. Alright, so... We've built up a bunch of railways in Brazil. It's time to unify the market. So, that turns our whole setup into a market. And what does this market need? It needs steel. It desperately needs grain. And it needs a few other things, among them fish. So, let's build up. We do have fishing wharf capacity in Guyana. In fact, I think we'll max out fishing in a bunch of our Caribbean territory. That just makes sense. There's a lot of fishing jobs available in these areas. I think that's also going to mean we're going to need to build up some railways. That's fine. Shouldn't have a problem with that. Jamaica actually might not need... No, I think Jamaica will be fine. But I'll build it up just as a sensible way of going about things. IT already has a railway in each territory, so I don't think I'm going to need more. But let's... Nope, actually, they sure do. You need railways. Can I subsidize railways in another country? It would appear not. But in the short term, I need more grain, and a great place to build up that grain is in Brazil, where there is maize capacity galore. So I'm just going to go grab a bunch of these states that have maize farms that are functioning, and I'm going to expand them. Double them, in fact. And I'm going to throw that at the top of the queue, so that those all get built reasonably quickly. And what that'll do, in turn, is increase my leverage over Brazil to make sure that they stay in the power block, which they still are. They're going down, interestingly. I don't know what's going to allow them to leave the power block, but I got to make sure it doesn't happen. So that's where we're going with this. Let me see. I can build up logging camps in Minas Gerais without a problem. So I'll go ahead and do that. Tooling factories as well. Rio de Janeiro has some successful furniture plants and paper mills that I can increase, as well as some logging camps of its own. And yeah, we'll throw those in at the top of the queue, no problem. At least the things that build fast. And we'll do the paper mills as well. We'll do all of it. Obviously, I don't know if this is obvious, but I do want to build the farms first. But after that, we'll build that other stuff. And again, the goal is just to keep the amount of leverage we have over Brazil high so they don't leave the situation. The armed forces and the intelligentsia... The armed forces are dissatisfied with the inclusion of the intelligentsia in the American government. Thought and action. You keep talking about taking risks, to be bold, to dare to dream. Do you even know what that means? Have you ever risked anything but your own rotten reputation? Respect the soldiers who protect your right to pontificate, salty intelligentsia. Do what you do best, soldiers, and follow orders, salty armed forces. Or a nation needs protection from both armies and bad ideas, reduced authority. I'm going to piss off the intelligentsia. I can very much afford to piss them off. The armed forces demand the promotion of Brigadier General Wilbur Isbell, touting his history of loyal and effective service. So many medals adorned his jacket that one could scarcely see the fabric beneath, but it was not yet enough. Chest puffed out with pride, the general smiled as he imagined the look on Cushing's face when the lieutenant general learned of his imminent ascension. Though rivalry was legendary among the officers, at last he would have his due. Isabel has earned it. Happier armed forces. Isabel gets a promotion to a major general. Or the armed forces will not force our hand. Intelligentsia happier, armed forces unhappy. I'm going to go with the first one. Keeping the armed forces happy is of critical importance to the stability of the nation. A foreign manifesto. The recently translated works of Edwin Douglas have become popular within the reactionary movement. The relationship has developed to the point of Edwin Douglas openly endorsing the movement. And for a whole large class, there is no other road, especially for a nation so eminently practical as the American. The great thing is to get the working class to move as a class, that once obtained, they will soon find the right direction, and all who resist will be left out in the cold with small sects of their own. The reactionary movement is very weak right now, and also not very active. Our struggle is an international one, 10% greater pop attraction, or this foreign interference ought to be punished. Evangelicals, unhappy but weaker, significantly reduced pop attraction but slightly increased activism. I'm going to go with the second one. Keeping the reactionary movement is useful. And the evangelicals continue to live in a state of total marginalization within our body politic. So I'm not super worried about that situation as a whole. Now, I'm realizing, the fickle crowd. The populist base of the yeoman farmers has turned against supporting foreign entanglements. Pressure from within has led the group to distance themselves from the anti-Russian League. American needs first. The people say no to foreign entanglements and no to foreign treaties. Prosperity at home or chaos abroad. No foreign power could successfully attack a fortified United States of America. It was a mistake to rely on them. Yeoman farmers leaves the anti-Russian League, or they must steer clear of these populist ideas. Weaker yeoman farmers. I'm going to do the first one. I don't need an anti-Russian lobby. I don't need an anti-Russian lobby. There's no follow-up to that. So, let me take a quick look at my subject states and just make sure. So, relations with IT are very bad. So, I'm going to improve them. That's just sensible. Relations with Maya are amicable. Guatemala are alright. Honduras are okay. Nicaragua are mid. Costa Rica are good. El Salvador are alright. So, El Salvador and... No, El Salvador is a state. All these states are... Okay, it's Nicaragua that's split up, and they're split up with the Mosquito Kingdom. Which I should invade eventually. You know, if I'd been smart about this whole canal survey thing, I would have waited to... I would have built the infrastructure first, used it to do the survey. I would have built the government admin first, used it to do the survey, and then completed the other thing. But I'm dumb, so that's how it goes, and that's the way the news goes. I am going. Oh, I don't have the authority. I'm actually going to cut this consumption tax on liquor because I want to put a Greener Grasses campaign decree on Panama, and that is going to make things easier with them. How's our leverage with Brazil? Still good. They're still in our market, which means they're still in the power block. We're just going down ever so slightly. So they're continuing to build up their own stuff. Hopefully my continuing to construct in them will give me enough leverage long term to be able to hold on to them. That's my goal, right? I want to make sure this power block stays strong. Having them as a in the power block also gives me a really solid. It makes us have a defensive pact that is independent of our of the power block, because how do I say this? It creates an automatic defensive pact as part of the power block, because the power block has defensive cooperation. Interesting. Brazil is a wealth-floating monarchy. I could force them to become a republic, but I don't want to overthrow Pedro de Braganza. They're going for oligarchy. No, stop it. Stop it, Brazil. You fool. Ugh. I may have made a mistake. Because this is really weakening the cohesion of my power block. Yeah, I need to improve relations with IT. That's really causing me a problem. 6 from independent non-leader bloc members. Can I boot Chile out of the power block? We'll see. Again, I think if they go to oligarchy, I can't necessarily regime change them into being a proper democracy anymore. So I think my potential is a little bit limited here. All right, and that timed modifier is going to kick around. I've still got my truce with the British for another year or so. And the reason I'm thinking about that is because this little chunk of France is starting to look really tasty. So if I demanded this, who would stand with them? China would stand with them. That's curious. Venezuela I can live with. Argentina is not ideal, but China. China, do you have? Are you a real world power? No. No, you only have regular infantry. You have some line infantry and lancers at least, but okay, I'm not afeared of that anymore. You're already in a war, and Spain is on the other side of it. So I think now is actually, ridiculously bad as it will be for my infamy, I think now actually is a good time to try and grab Guyana. This is going to be 18.2 infamy, so I can't also get the West Indies. If I get the West Indies, that's 11.4 infamy, but Guyana is a lot more important. So we'll do it. Anti-French League is formed. That's not a problem. We'll mobilize, and we'll start raising conscripts on top of that, because France is a real power. And hopefully, all of this will not come to all that much. So, I want the Army of New England in the area. I want the Army of the Pacific Coast in the area. I want the Army of Observation in the area. And then, if I keep the regular army... Oh, the Army of the Great Plains I want in the area. If I keep the regular army and... No, the Army of Observation will stay here. So if I put those 4 armies in this territory, which apparently is linked to the Caribbean Sea zone, then we'll be just fine. Alright, we're finishing out the rubber plantations we're building here in Guyana, and we're starting at work on these universities. I think I'm basically going to keep working on the universities until I hit my innovation cap, and then pause construction. Panama Isthmus survey. Our survey of the Panama Isthmus is complete. We've confirmed that it would be possible to construct a canal linking the Atlantic and Pacific Oceans. A faster route between the Atlantic and Pacific has long been sought, but now we shall make it ourselves. We will build the canal. Alright, let's build ourselves a Panama Canal. And while we're doing that, in fact, why don't we build ourselves a Statue of Liberty as well? I'm going to throw those at the top just so that they get built. China sides with France, not a big deal. I'm not... in the words of Belgium, how could you? In the words of... never mind, I forget who I'm talking about here. So I could get Brazil in here, and I think we'll get Brazil in here. I should have a... Well, this is weird. Or because it's an offensive war, I can't. I don't get my free sway them in. Well, that's fine. I don't actually need them. I can give them an obligation. No. I'm not going to do that. I don't need them. I don't need them. I can win this war on my own merits. Plus, the French are occupied in Spain, and if I can do this fast enough, and they're not able to win this war really fast, then I'll just be able to get what I want, run them down in. On the other hand, stealing the West Indies would let me do what I want to do. A minority group of Danish have recently settled in the state of Washington, seeking a better future. However, the local Yankee elites are stirring up resentment, claiming the Danish newcomers will destroy the traditional way of life. They don't belong here. Our Yankee customs, our way of life, they'll be lost if we let the Danish settle, claimed a prominent landowner, his words echoing in the taverns and markets of Fort Nisqually. The newcomers, hopeful but weary, whisper of opportunity but face closed doors and hostile stares. I'm going to say they must accept their lot. It's not going to affect them. They're European heritage pops. It'll be fine. And the Prussians are going after the French as well. So I'm feeling extremely confident in my ability to win this, just on account of, like, there's other wars happening. So you know what? We'll grab the French Low Countries. No, just kidding. French West Indies. We'll do it. And I'm going to add that to the primary. And then I'm going to have to spend like 20 years just not doing stuff, because golly, have I built myself up a lot of infamy, and I do not want to have a lot of infamy over an extended period of time. Oh, that's just a power block statue. That's not the Statue of Liberty. Hold on. This one. Oops. There we go. That's the timeline I was expecting. This is very funny. What if no, because I don't want to join Prussia in this, tempting as it is, because if I join Prussia, that would lead to an awkward situation, which might result in the existence of a Germany. And I wouldn't love it if there was a Germany, to be completely honest. I'm not really Germany pilled. Austria, you rival me, I will rival you as well. Give me extra influence to continue to improve relations with my my fellow power block, my fellow Pact enjoyers. Who actually, relations with Nicaragua are not as solid as they could be. So I think we'll go there first. Peru, Bolivia, I'll be back with you later. Alright, so it looks like the French do not have any troops in Guyana. And we are actually invading there really fast, so we'll invade the West Indies, and then they should lose their war support protection. Ooh! The duel! Philetus Minot has challenged David Farragut in a duel to the death. The aura surrounding the two figures is like something out of a romantic novel. David Farragut smiles. He's been rehearsing this moment before falling asleep. Philetus Minot, you are a foolish fool. Your insults cannot go unanswered. Pick a weapon of choice, and we shall meet tomorrow. Let them fight! Minot has died. Alright, has that goofed up any of my armies? Doesn't look like it. No, Army of the Great Plains is fine, actually. Army of Observation could probably use another dude. Let me see. Yeah, we'll go with this guy. We'll go with General Marlon Rando. So once we've invaded the West Indies, what do? I think the actual answer is we invade France. And that, I know that sounds extremely silly, but I think it might be the way to do things. I think it might just be the most sensible way to go. Alright, so that's the West Indies taken. Let me see. We'll send the army to the Great Plains. In fact, no, I'll send the army... I'll send the regular army. Heck it. We'll do it. I'll do it. I'll invade France. I don't give a heck. Let me see. They do not have war support protection. And my finances are rough, so we'll pause government construction. That'll give me temporary relief. What is this? Louisiana has a reactionary revolt, which I will need to help suppress using the Army of Florida, clearly. Oh my goodness, we are actually way over time for this episode. Alright, so that is definitely all the time we got for today, my nerds. I've had fun. I hope you all have had fun, and I will see you on the other side.